This is Pukeology Podcast, where science meets your hilarious puke stories and the tips and tricks to stop that up-chuckle that you need.
You never know what's going to spew out of her mouth. Here's
my mama,
Dr. PukeNoMo.
So why do I have to pee all the time pregnant? And I heard I'll lose my bladder control? Frequent Urination While Pregnant Pukeology Podcast, episode 11, will tell you all about it, so you don't have to pee your pants to get the answers. Want no mo morning sickness? Pregnancy nausea? Or how about no mo headaches or migraines? Visit our sponsor, nomonausea.com, the only natural way to instantly stop your worst nausea, vomiting, and head pain now. Or just place your No Mo Nausea band on your baby registry for your delivery bag at Bye Bye Baby and Babies R Us real soon. And your little ones, make sure they're always taken care of first with No Mo Nausea Kids for car sickness, travel sickness, and that dreaded cold and flu season, located now at your most local CVS store. Pregnancy humor that may just make you want to pee your pants, like you don't have to pee all the time, with crazy hilarious stories like peed on by your teacher, first timers to Let It Go, and egg drop soup, the other yellow cup. If you want to learn more about your pregnancy, humor and knowledge is the key to help you survive these 9 months. And just know we're in this together. Today, you will learn the science behind why you have to pee in all 3 trimesters, tips to help you stop peeing all night long, and exercise to help before, during, and after the baby has arrived. Make your bladder smile with this Pukeology Podcast, episode 11.
Throwing up on a Tuesday?
I have to throw up, and I will admit I peed my pants several times. I'm also a kinder teacher. That's short for kindergarten. So I can't always run over to the bathroom when I have my kids in the room. So as I was bending over to help this adorable little 5-year-old boy, as soon as I felt the need and the bell for recess alarmed, it immediately sent a signal to my very upset stomach, being that I'm in my first trimester. So as I start to help this kid, I bent over, threw up all over his desk, and then what's even worse is I ended up peeing all over with such forceful propulsion that the little boy asked, "Why do I feel wet all of a sudden?" I hurried and scurried him over to recess, put my head inside of a garbage can, when at the exact same moment, my boss came in and saw I was puking and peeing down my leg, all at the same time. That's how I had to tell him I was expecting. SCHO12, thank you so much for that hilarious puke story. Danica Lee writes, so my first time throwing up, I peed all over myself, and I still do when I tend to throw up. It doesn't matter if I was only pregnant for 9 months. Anytime I have a little bit too much to drink, it's like memory lane all over the place. I puke and pee all at the same time, and I'm not ashamed of it. It happened for 9 months straight, and even now, just as a constant reminder of what my morning sickness pee was like. I guess it's kind of like that movie Frozen. I just let it go. Thanks again, Danica Lee, DANICALEE, for that hilarious puke story. I was going inside a Chinese restaurant and I needed to take a takeout order. The problem is I couldn't control it. My morning sickness was so bad. I had to run back to the car, so I grabbed the bag. I don't even think that I actually paid for it. Dumped out half of the egg drop soup because it reminded me of the pee that I was going to have happen. I went to go throw up into the actual cup when I realized that I needed to puke inside the bag and hold the cup over my bladder bladder in my urine in order to make sure that I too was able to catch everything. So besides puking all over the car or beside the car, I also was squatting. It was so embarrassing, especially since I had puked all over my family's dinner. In love with two, INLUVWITH2. Thank you so much for your hilarious puke story. Do you have a hilarious pregnancy story that you just can't wait to share? Send it to me, pukeology@nomonausea.com, PUKEOLOGY@nomonausea.com, or just tweet us at Pukeology so that we can all have a great laugh together.
The Science of Puke, Pukeology. Congratulations! You just found out you're pregnant. So why are you running to the toilet peeing so soon? The baby's not even that big. To be honest with you, most of you find out that you're peeing when the baby is less than the size of a popcorn. By the 4th week after conception, your body has actually doubled, tripled, and now quadrupled the amount of HCG, also known as human chorionic gonadotropin hormone. This is that hormone that lets doctors know that your body is progressing in your pregnancy well, because the baby is causing you to double and triple it every week thereafter. As a safeguard for women during delivery, because of the fear of blood loss, your body naturally produces, by the 4th week after conception, a lot of this hormone that we've actually talked about. And not only does it do it to help increase the baby, their decreased mortality rate, but also the baby's developmental stage. Your body actually prepares itself for delivery, all starting at week 1. Your body actually produces more blood for the fear of blood loss because, again, naturally, you're going to lose about 500 milliliters to a liter of blood during a regular delivery and or a C-section. So your body actually makes and produces a lot more blood. This increase in blood flow simultaneously increases the amount of blood flowing to your kidneys. When there's more things for your kidneys to filter, guess what? You ladies are going to be peeing, just like I did. I ran and peed actually more during my first trimester than I did in my second. As stated about your kidneys increasing by about 25%, meaning that they're actually cleaning a 1/4 more. So you're peeing constantly, even before your little peanut makes a show in your belly. Frequent urination was my personal tall tale sign of how I knew I was pregnant, and it came on extremely early. Morning sickness, which is also nausea in pregnancy, can start right around that same time. And we actually do have a Pukeology podcast episode that details all about morning sickness. So when does morning sickness actually start? Well, that is episode 1 of Pukeology Podcast. Go check it out. And if you're currently not pregnant yet and you're trying to get pregnant, you want to know what morning sickness is like? Check out episode 2 as well. Like I was saying about morning sickness happening right around the 4th week of gestational age of the baby, the good news is we now have something called nausea, which is doctor recommended to stop morning sickness fast. So go buy a nausea band or put it on your registry at Bye Bye Baby or Bed Bath & Beyond. You can also pick it up at nomonausea.com, or again, if you travel a lot and you already have one little one, you know that Nausea Kids is now around, which is great because it can instantly stop you from throwing up in about 30 seconds, and it is natural using acupressure and aromatherapy. So getting back to your first trimester, now you understand your body is filtering, your kidneys are working overtime, so that's why you've got to pee extra, because there's more blood and there's more movement. Well, here's some great news coming in the second trimester, because the baby itself finds its home a little higher in your abdomen, so you don't have to pee as frequently as you did in the first trimester, and your body naturally gets used to what I like to call almost like pee training. Your body gets used to the decreased sensation of urination. It's kind of like a distraction when it's constantly being fed
this same sensation to pee, your body starts kind of tuning that alarm off. Again, distraction. Your body is amazing, and so is your brain. As you start to get into your late second trimester and beginning of your third, bring on the pee-pee. So as the increasing size of the baby in the uterus starts causing a lot more pressure upon the bladder, it's allowing a lot less of an opportunity to be able to fill. So you have to pee even more so, just because that big bag that you could usually fill up, you no longer, and that bag is called your bladder, by the way, you can no longer fill that appropriately, just because you've got a baby who's deciding to kick, punch, and do all those wonderful things. I used to say my son was using my bladder as a speed bag in boxing.
Tips and tricks to stop the up-chuckle that you need.
So, what can we finally do? How do I stop running to the bathroom every couple minutes? Well, every pregnant women patient that I've ever talked to inevitably asks me, I heard I won't be able to control my bladder. So here's a few tips that I put together in order to help you less of a pee pod. Make sure you're not drinking items with caffeine. We all know that caffeine is not good in pregnancy, but it is okay to consume one caffeinated beverage a day. That is what's considered the standard. But in general, try to eliminate it. Caffeine is actually a diuretic, and it will make you have to pee even more than you already have to. And by the way, for me, it just wasn't worth that Coca-Cola or that cup of coffee in the morning, so I actually eliminated it, period. Make sure you empty your bladder completely before you go to sleep so that you can prolong the time that you're sleeping at night. Your rest and restful sleeping is very important to the development of the baby and for your sanity as well, ladies. Frequent urination is also confused with urinary tract infections. Make sure your OBGYN is checking your urine sample every single time you go into the office, because an undetected urinary tract infection can cause preterm labor and is very painful, can cause very painful contractions, and again, that's what preterm labor really is. It can actually throw you into labor a lot sooner. I only know this because it happened to me, and I ended up diagnosing myself and peeing on a dipstick and finding out that that was the cause of my contractions during my 7th month. Even though I wasn't having painful urination, I was still having those horrible contractions. So make sure that you are going and be an advocate for yourself. Say, check my pee, because again, you want your doctor and yourself to be on the exact same wavelength. Do Kegel exercises regularly. And I'm not saying for the bounce, chicka, wow, wow, but again, we all know increased blood flow makes you a lot hornier during pregnancy because you have a lot more blood flow to that area. But I'm talking about Kegel exercises for your better pelvic floor strengthening. Just in case we have some prudes listening, let me define what a Kegel exercise is. So the Kegel muscles, or a Kegel exercise, is when you tensen up the muscles surrounding your vagina and your peritoneum. It's the muscles between your vag and your butthole. So if you try to do this right now with me. Try to focus and squeeze the muscles you are using to hold in urine for about 10 seconds at a time. So you don't have to do this while you're peeing. You don't have to try to stop your pee. I'm saying right now, take a nice big deep breath in and hold 10, 9, 8. Okay, you get it all the way up until 10. So now do that for 5 sets. And you should do about 5 sets a day, every day. And this is good. You can do it while you're at a stoplight. You can do this while you're just doing house chores. It's great because it really does help to strengthen the pelvic floor, and not just during pregnancy. Do this after, and it'll also make your hubby very happy because of your sex life. You'll end up being able to squeeze a little better. If you become ridiculously good at this and you want to add weights, No, I'm not kidding, but I am giggling about the whole thing. That's what this whole weighted Kegel ball or vagina workouts are all about. If you want to check it out, go to Pinterest. I'm sure they have a whole bunch of buy now buttons that you can click on. But again, this is so let's say that the Kegel muscles are not enough. You become really proficient at them. You can actually add weights. So weights in there, and it would cause you to strengthen your pelvic floor even more. It helps you to avoid the muscles of your vagina from getting loose in your older age and after the baby. And it's also great and beneficial to help hold in your pee. This avoids urinary incontinence. So what we've been talking about is you having to pee all the time. Now imagine not being able to control it because you have two sphincters. You have the internal sphincter, which is controlled and regulated subconsciously by your bladder. And then you have the outermost, and that's the one that you can control. That's the one by you doing Kegel muscles you can stop. But you want to avoid the drip drop that you may get if you do not do your Kegel muscles, and that's what we call urinary incontinence. Create a bladder diary. Note when you feel the most leaks so you can plan your trips accordingly. Obviously, if you dribble and have to pee all the time in the morning, plan all of your, journeys or adventures to happen in the afternoon or the evening. Again, make your time best used. What I call this is bladder retraining. It's so that you don't feel like you've lost control when you always have to pee. So you actually are training yourself to say, nope, I'm not going pee right now because I have things to do. If not, you'll spend every waking moment in the bathroom. Maintaining a healthy weight with a high fiber diet, which is what our next Pregnancy Pukeology Podcast episode 11 will cover. Because excess weight in the abdomen can increase the pressure on the bladder. Foods that are high in fiber, you want to consume them because they avoid constipation. As you know, constipation, or that grunting on the toilet, puts added stress on your pelvic floor, increasing the risk of leakage throughout the day. Let's just cut it out altogether. Now you know the science behind why your bladder is changing every single trimester. You also know what are those things that your body has happened during pregnancy in order to change the dynamic of how you feel down there to have to pee. And then what's best about all of it are my 5 great tips to help you to understand how you can retrain your bladder and help not just with urinary incontinence, but how you can get a good restful night's sleep by doing all 5 of those things that we talked about. This is how you now know how to avoid frequent urination in pregnancy, from early signs of pregnancy to 3rd trimester. Thanks for joining me in episode 11, Pukeology Podcast.
Pukeology Podcast, edutainment at its finest.
And don't forget, if you love Pukeology Podcast, let us know with a 5-star rating or hearts for likes. Don't forget to download this episode, but more importantly, share with all your Prego friends. Thanks again for listening to Pukeology Podcast in Pregnancy, episode 11, Frequent Urination in Pregnancy.
Pukeology Podcast, edutainment at its finest.